you want to be a part of the conversation before it happens here on YouTube, click that link in the description to join the free Courtside Financial Discord. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Weekend Recap on the Courtside Financial Podcast, a segment where we bring you a compilation of everything that went down throughout the week from a stories perspective. Before we get into this video, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and click the notification bell icon so you don't miss out on any content that's coming in the future. Okay, so if you're new here, NIO, a prominent player in the Chinese electric vehicle industry, has announced NIO PowerDay. So if you're an EV enthusiast, an investor, or someone just interested in the future of sustainable transportation, please mark your calendar for July 20th. NIO's NIO PowerDay 2023 promises to be a spectacular showcase of the latest in EV charging technology. You can think of it as NIO's NIO Day, but specifically for power equipment. During this event, NIO will unveil their strategic plans for their EV charging infrastructure, along with the latest product technology and service offerings. It's pretty much a comprehensive event that showcases NIO's commitment to sustainable charging solutions. So this is the third time that they're having this event. This will be their third annual NIO PowerDay. My thoughts on the reason why they do this is to boost consumer and stakeholder confidence. They want to position themselves as a true leader in the energy industry, not just the manufacturing of cars. NIO PowerDay is essentially a platform for investors, enthusiasts, and consumers alike to get a first-hand look at NIO's vision for the future of charging solutions. As we await NIO's NIO PowerDay 2023, there's a palpable sense of excitement in the air if last year's NIO PowerDay was any indication. NIO has a track record of surprising the industry with their innovative announcements, and given their relentless commitment to pushing boundaries, there's no doubt that they've been working hard to prepare for this event. Last year's NIO PowerDay was a game changer, revealing the remarkable 500 kilowatt-hour ultra-fast charger, and also previewing their third generation of battery swapping stations. These breakthroughs were heralded as significant milestones in the EV charging industry. With such an impressive track record, it's safe to say that NIO will use this event once again as a platform to redefine what's possible. And that could mean anything, like unveiling faster chargers, announcing partnerships, or introducing cutting-edge battery technology. Anyways, as the electric vehicle industry continues to expand and evolve, NIO is likely to seize the opportunity to showcase their leadership and innovation. As more people embrace electric mobility, NIO's role becomes more and more key and vital to this industry, as, like I mentioned before, NIO isn't just a car company, they're also trying to become an energy company as well, and in my opinion, they're doing a good job at that so far. This event will not only just attract the attention of investors and consumers and EV enthusiasts, but I think it'll also catch the eye of some competitors. So anyways, that's going to be it for today's episode. Like I said, mark your calendars for July 20th. There will be more to come, more updates to come, I should say, after that, and I'll give my thoughts on what went down at NIO PowerDay 2020 or 2023, I mean. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about NIO's cumulative deliveries for the month of July so far. So this is going to be an interesting video. I'm going to give you my perspective, my opinion on where I think we'll land for this month. As NIO investors, I think that it's also important to keep an eye on the competition. You don't have to look at every electric vehicle maker in China, but certainly the ones that came up when NIO was coming up and are kind of in the most close competition with each other. So let's take a look at the data right now. We'll start with sales figures from Li Auto. According to their recent announcements on Weibo, Li Auto sold 7,700 units during the week of July 10th to July 16th. It's worth noting that they didn't explicitly disclose the basis on which their weekly sales are tallied, but they seem to be insurance registrations, and I'm guessing that's why CNEV posts put them on this chart. Li Auto sales last week saw a slight drop of 2.53% from the previous week's figure of 7,900 units. However, their total sales for the month as of July 16th stand at 16,900 units. Now, turning our attention to our favorite electric vehicle manufacturer, NIO. During the same week, NIO performed admirably, selling 3,900 units, which represented an impressive 25.81% increase from the previous week's sales of 3,100 units. From July 1st to July 16th, NIO sold a total of 8,000 units. And so, like I said, while NIO investors might be primarily focused on their favorite brand, it's crucial to keep track of the competition. So let's take a look at the performance of other electric vehicle makers in China. On the chart here, we're also seeing XPeng, which is pretty comparable with Li Auto and NIO from the perspective that they all released around the same time, and a lot of people group these three companies together as well. So as you can see, NIO is outperforming XPeng from a deliveries perspective. XPeng delivered around 3,500 during the same time period. And also good to call out for people who aren't too familiar with Li Auto is that currently they only have plug-in hybrids. And so we know a lot of people in China are very sensitive to the range anxieties that come with purchasing an electric vehicle. And as that continues to flip, I think that we'll continue to see NIO continue to gain more market share of the new energy vehicle market. So anyways, based on NIO's recent trend, I think that they are doing pretty well here. I'll show you guys this, or actually I'll screenshot this and put it up on the screen because I think it'll be mirrored on my iPad. But anyways, July 1 and from July 1st to July 2nd, I deducted that they delivered around 1,000 vehicles. From July 3rd to July 9th, it was announced that they delivered 3,100 vehicles, and they obviously increased their deliveries from that period during the 10th to the 16th to 3,900 vehicles, bringing them to a total of 8,000 vehicles delivered in the month of July so far. So as we can see, NIO is ramping up their production capacity. Anyways, to go from 3,100 to 3,900, that's about a 25% increase on insurance vehicles registrations. So let's say that they're going to increase by about 25% next week, and that's going to put us actually at 4,875 for that week. And just to be conservative, not to blow anything out of the water here, let's just say they're going to do 4,875 for the following week as well. So we're already at 8,000, and we're going to do an additional 4,875 vehicles for an additional 2 weeks. That's going to be 9,750 plus the 8,000 that we're already at, and that puts us at 17,750 vehicles delivered for the month of July. I actually do think that at some point NIO will be able to hit this 20,000 vehicles delivered per month that Deutsche Bank has been telling us about, that the company has been telling us about. So things are looking pretty good for NIO. This is definitely good news. Don't see any reason or way somebody could look down on these delivery figures here. NIO, it seems to me as if NIO is really turning things around. Today we're going to be doing an update on NIO's battery swapping stations, which was actually suggested by one of you guys who's a part of this channel. So shout out to Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan. Here's what Jonathan said in yesterday's video. I was wondering if you might do a monthly segment updating swap station count inside of China and Europe. I saw a similar segment on another podcast demonstrating the progression of Tesla's charging network. So I thought that was a good idea. And so while I am always following the progression of NIO's battery swapping stations, I don't necessarily document it. I just read about it just like you guys. But from this point on, I'll start documenting it in a spreadsheet, and I'll start doing a monthly segment specifically towards China, because I know that there is not much information that's released around the European market. And when we do get that information, it's usually during earnings calls. So I can definitely start to continue to add that stuff on after earnings, or maybe even branch off into another segment and just talk about how we're doing in the European market. But for simplicity purposes, let's keep it China for now. Okay, so on July 5th, 2022, NIO had 999 battery swap stations in China, providing an impressive 10 million battery swaps, averaging around 30,000 swaps per day. That's pretty impressive, right? At the time, charging piles at their stations numbered about 10,070. Fast forward to April 3rd, 2023, NIO expanded its battery swap network even further. Now they have 13,027 stations, facilitating a whopping 20 million battery swaps. That's approximately 45,000 swaps per day, and their charging piles have grown to a considerable number, just under 14,768. NIO's progression doesn't really stop there. As of April 17th, 2023, they reached 13,052 battery swap stations, surpassing the 20 million battery swaps milestone with charging piles of 14,768. By the way, charging piles also includes fast chargers, just to let you guys know. But moving on to the latest update, here is the most recent count. As of July 14th, 2023, NIO has taken their battery swap stations in China to a new high, hitting 1,553, and the number of battery swaps completed skyrocketed to 25,001,979. Very impressive here. They're now providing around 50,000 battery swaps per day, with charging piles reaching 15,911. And to keep you guys on your seats, because this is hot off the press, as of July 17th, 2023, NIO now boasts 1,563 battery swap stations in China, continuing to exceed the 25 million battery swap mark, and still providing around 50,000 swaps daily, with charging piles reaching 16,729. And also another thing on the charging piles piece, I'm only counting NIO's charging piles. I'm not counting the third-party charging piles that NIO owners can have access to and can use to charge their vehicles as well. Now, here are some interesting key points. A top Chinese investment bank, CICC, suggests that if NIO is doing 100 battery swaps per station, NIO could potentially generate profit. And with their current number of stations, they would need to perform a cumulative total of 156,300 swaps to reach profitability through battery swapping. So that's about over 3 times the amount they're doing today if they're doing 50,000 per day. So to summarize, NIO needs to be doing 156,300 swaps per day. And as the number of battery swap stations increase, obviously this number is going to increase as well. But to simplify it for you, they need to be doing 100 per day per battery swapping station. To do that, they'll likely have to continue to improve on their battery swapping technology. Right now we're on V3 of the battery swapping stations. They're only going to get better. The capacity is only going to be able to handle more cars over time for them to be able to reach profitability in battery swapping. But anyways, NIO's not stopping there. They've set some ambitious goals for the future. By the end of 2023, they plan to roll out more than 2,300 battery swap stations across China. And as we can see from last month, they're adding about 100 per month, which is pretty aggressive. And important to the company, we talked about NIO creating a moat around their refueling or charging ecosystem. And there you have it. NIO's battery swapping stations have been on a remarkable growth trajectory, and it's clear that the company is pretty much dedicated to providing convenient charging solutions for their customers. So as we've been anticipating and discussing on the channel this week, NIO had their 3rd annual NIO PowerDay, and many were expecting the 150 kilowatt hour battery pack, but it did not appear to be announced at NIO PowerDay 2023. But fear not, there's tons of cool excitements, and we're going to break down everything and give a little bit of insight into it. So let's kick things off with one of the first things I want to talk about is NIO's battery replacement flexibility. Now you can seamlessly upgrade your NIO battery. If you have a short range battery and want to get a long range battery, you can do that as well. But there is a little bit of additional cost as expected for making that type of switch. The program allows users to upgrade their standard range battery packs to long range on a daily basis, and the additional cost is going to be 50 RMB or about $7 US per day. Costs also will not exceed 880 RMB for a 31-day period, which is also the cost of monthly upgrades. So honestly, this is pretty good for if you want to buy like the standard battery, but you all of a sudden decide, hey, I need to take a long trip. I might want a longer battery. I think this has a good use case there, and it's pretty huge. Majority of the other car companies aren't doing this, so I hope you guys are taking note of something like this. It's a big thing. Another significant development is NIO's 200 kilowatt V2G charger, which is pretty interesting. This is pretty phenomenal from a technology perspective as far as NIO's technology goes. This charger allows them to draw power during low usage periods and discharge it during peak hours. It's a novel way for NIO owners to charge their cars at off-peak hours and then sell energy back to the grid. NIO's been making remarkable progress with its infrastructure goals. In China, they already have 7,000 charging heaps. This includes battery swapping stations and supercharging stations as well. We just did an update on how many battery swapping stations NIO has and charging piles they have. They plan on having 1,600 charging piles all across China by the end of next week, and they plan on installing 100 battery swapping stations in the month of July, just like we predicted yesterday. I said that they are probably going to be doing around 100 battery swapping stations. While there's a lot to be excited about, there might be a delay in the release of the 150 kilowatt hour battery pack. The original date might be pushed back from July to August, but rest assured NIO is making progress in this regard. NIO sales are also on an upward trajectory. There was about a 74% increase compared to May, with NIO delivering 10,707 vehicles in June. Between July 1st and the 16th, as reported on this channel already, NIO sold a staggering 8,000 vehicles. Turning to NIO's premium brand positioning, it's important to note that the company focuses on meeting individual customer needs. While there may be some model-to-model cannibalization of sales within NIO's lineup, the emphasis on providing more personalized products sets their brand apart from others on the mass market. So this is going to wrap up today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this coverage of the takeaways from NIO PowerDay 2023. Great event. I really like that. I think it's volt to grid V2G 200 kilowatt hour charger. I think NIO owners being able to sell energy back to the grid is pretty huge, and it's can even be thought of as a compelling reason to one more compelling reason to purchase a NIO vehicle. NIO's brand new delivery center is standing tall in Shanghai. Once an overlooked factory, is now a local landmark. This stunning factory demands attention and resonates with NIO's customer-first strategy, like we saw in their Jinan NIO delivery center last year. Now, this is actually going to be NIO's biggest delivery center yet. But why would NIO be building such a big delivery center? Is it because they're anticipating extremely high deliveries? Well, we'll have to wait and see. One thing that I want to address is some commentary that Ken posted in our group, and he actually went through and translated some of these Weibo bloggers' comments on some of these Weibo bloggers' posts, which is very insightful and very useful for understanding where NIO could potentially go for the month of July as far as deliveries. So let's get right into that. So first and foremost, NIO's production is gearing up. We've already talked about this on the channel. And they're actually predicting that they could do 20,000 deliveries in the month of July alone. 20,000 deliveries in a single month. You heard that right. And that's right. President Qin Li Hong is standing tall and confident on this target here. But of course, recently NIO has been over-promising and under-delivering, so the market is raising eyebrows and they're pretty skeptical about NIO actually being able to hit this target for the month of July. I actually did a NIO update, and I told you guys that I believe that NIO is going to hit around that 16,500 mark for July, just because as an investor, you always want to use caution. But everything that we're seeing around the community right now, the community who's actually boots on the ground in China, is looking like NIO could potentially shock the market, and the market isn't really expecting for them to hit 20,000 as well. So in my opinion, I think that this puts the stock in the near term in a win-win position. But obviously I don't trade, I just dollar cost average, consistently invest. Every other week I buy shares, and none of this is to be taken as financial advice, of course, just trying to share my thought processes and insights on what I'm seeing. But anyways, here's what's fascinating. One of these bloggers' insights was nothing short of incredible. Placing an order for a basic version of an ES6, they had their vehicle delivered in a week. That's super impressive, right? The Weibo user said that he locked his order in on the 10th, production started on the 12th, frame number was released on the 15th, and production was completed on the 20th. Basically, he ordered a basic version and received it in a week. Here's the commentary from a famous blogger in China as well who bought a NIO. He said NIO is currently around 3,000 or 4,000 deliveries per week. The target of 20,000 this month remains unchanged, and the next week it will be 6,000 plus per week. If NIO can ramp up to 6,000 deliveries per week pretty soon here, I'll be very happy, because it shows that they're growing, they're moving in the right direction, and that's a huge jump from what they did from the week of July 9th to July 16th. With this new delivery center in place, NIO is undoubtedly gearing up for something big. They're getting ready to handle a soaring number of orders and provide their customers with nothing less than an exceptional experience. So keep your eyes peeled, folks. If NIO manages to hit that 20,000 vehicle delivery target for the month of July, it'll be huge, and it'll ring throughout the whole EV industry and the market. That's going to be it for this episode of Week in Recap for the Courtside Financial Podcast. If you found any of this information valuable, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and definitely leave a comment down below. Genuinely interested in hearing what you guys think about these new this new style of videos that we're doing. Anyways, that's going to be it. I'll catch you guys next time.